Good morning, students. I am Dr. Babasaheb Kangune. In our today's video lecture, I am going to discuss with you translation studies. This topic is part and parcel of your course entitled Modern Indian Writing in English Translation. So, in this video lecture, I will tell you about the definition of translation, then categories of translation, then origin and development of translation studies. So one by one we discuss all these things. First, let me tell you the meaning of translation. Translation means rendering a text from source language into target language. Means two languages are there. You have selected a text from one language and you are presenting the same in another language. So source language means, suppose you are translating something from Marathi into English. So Marathi will be the source language and English will be the target language. The term translation comes from Latin word translatio and it means a carrying across. Then see the definition of the term translation, which is given by Oxford Dictionary. It is a process of changing something that is written or spoken into another language. This is the definition which is taken from Oxford Dictionary. So always keep in your mind that in translation two languages or more than two languages are involved. Now let me tell you about the nature of translation. Translation is a multilingual and multidimensional activity. Multilingual means two languages or more than two languages are involved. Means suppose source language is there and target language is there. If you are translating something from Marathi into English, Marathi will be the source language, English will be the target language. Suppose you are translating something from Hindi into English, so Hindi will be the source language and English will be the target language. So if you have knowledge of different languages, definitely you can work properly, because we find the influence of different languages. Is while talking about Marathi, we have the influence of Persian languages, Sanskrit language. So it is a multilingual. And multidimensional means, if you know the socio-economic or cultural issues, cultural aspects, you can give proper justice while translating a text from one language into another. So multidimensional knowledge of socio-cultural, political point of view, socio-cultural dimensions, that is also important one. So it is both linguistic and socio-cultural in nature. And again, let me tell you about the role of the translator as a catalytic agent between languages and cultures. Because here you are not likely to invent something new, you are not likely to add something new. Here you are rendering, you are giving the same message in target language, in another language only. So you are not likely to create something new, but here you are presenting in another language only. Now let me tell you about scope and purpose of translation. Translation bridges linguistic and cultural gaps between communities. Linguistic and cultural means, right now we find that well-known books from different languages, maybe from Spanish language, from Russian language, which are translated into English, which are translated into Indian languages also. In this sense, here the translator is bridging the gap between two communities, between two different cultures. It serves as a medium of communication across nations and societies. Suppose something is written in Arabic languages, maybe written in French language, Latin language. Right now it is available one, and so we are likely to cross the geographical barriers, geographical boundaries also. linguistic barriers we are likely to cross. And modern translation studies link linguistics, semiotics, literature, and culture. And even it is a part of the study of culture also. We suppose a text from African literature right now that is available to us. So ultimately, we can get acquainted with the culture also, their traditions also, rituals also. That's why its nature is rather wide and it encompasses not only the linguistic uh, aspects only, but cultural, economic, social, political issues also which are presented. One thing is very important in translation. Translation is not a mechanical but creative activity. Mechanical means suppose uh, without realizing the sense. Okay, so in translation, what happens? One has to maintain the sense, one has to maintain the flavor. It is a creative work. Me suppose if you study a poem by William Wordsworth, which suppose a poem which is written in English language, and while translating into Marathi, one has to maintain the flavor, the sense, the emotions associated with that particular text. So it is a creative one. That's why it is said that a translator must understand the intention, tone, and style of the original. Means whatever is written by the original writer. I often give example of Dilip Chitre's translation of select Abhangas into English. You know that Dilip Chitre is a bilingual writer and he is famous for his Sez Tuka. So he translated select Abhangas written by Tukaram into English. So while translating such a kind of literary work, here he tried to maintain the flavor of Marathi languages because each language it has its own identity. Marathi language is rich as far as its vocabulary is concerned. And here Tukaram, when he wrote Abhangas, his devotion towards Lord Vithoba that is presented. So while translating such kind of literary work, the goal is to achieve equivalence of meaning, emotion and artistry. So here the faithfulness, sincerity, that is very important part while translating a text from one language into another. Here one thing let me tell you, we are not likely to study a language in isolation. Language is the product of society. So ultimately, the cultural context is important one. This statement is made by Juri Lotman that no language can exist without its cultural context. Means if you want to translate something from Marathi into English, you must be acquainted with the culture. You must be acquainted with the socio-economic conditions of Marathi language. Then only you can give proper justice. So cultural, historical and social background must be considered while translating, because you know that in each and every society we have certain myths, rituals, idioms are also there. So what happens, which are the product of that particular language, and here language is the product of society. So the development of language and the society go hand in hand. So the knowledge of culture is important one, the knowledge of that particular society is also important one while translating a text from source language into target language. Dear students, now I am likely to highlight types of translation. There are three categories of translation which have been identified by Roman Jacobson. So intralingual translation, interlingual translation and intersemiotic translation. One by one I will explain these three types. First one is intralingual translation. Intralingual means within the same language. Means here if you are paraphrasing, if you are making a summary, suppose a poem is written in Marathi language and you are interpreting the same in Marathi language. that is intralingual translation. Rewording within the same language. Single language is there. I will give you example. Suppose Sant poet Naneshwar, he wrote Naneshwari, Bhavartha Deepika. And right now we have the different interpretations of Bhavartha Deepika, which is written in Marathi language. Suppose that is intralingual. Then interlingual means here translating from one language to another. This is known as translation proper. Interlingual means two languages are there. A text from Marathi is translated into English. A text from Hindi is translated into Kannada language. This is known as interlingual translation or translation proper. Third type, intersemiotic translation. Here what happens? Verbal signs are there. Verbal signs are presented into non-verbal systems. Means suppose a description is given in Marathi language and somebody is making graphs or with the help of some visual images. If you are presenting the same, that is known as intersemiotic. Intersemiotic means interpreting verbal signs into non-verbal. Non-verbal means with the help of pictures may be there, photos may be there. Or if you are presenting something orally with the help of your body language, gestures, means that oral communication. Here instead of presenting with the help of language, with the help of different signs, with the help of gesture, with the help of non-verbal system, if you are presenting the same, that is known as intersemiotic translation. So these are the three categories of translation. Now the last point of presentation is definitions. These definitions are given by the well-known scholars. So the first definition of translation given by J.C. Catford, and according to him, it is a replacement of textual material in one language by equivalent material in another. Means from one language into another. Material, textual material. Second definition is given by Nida and Tiber, and according to him, means these are the two scholars, according to them, reproducing the nearest equivalence of the message in the target language. And third definition, it is taken from New Standard Encyclopedia. See the definition, rendering of meaning from one language into another. So these three definitions are important one, and you recite them, you practice them. Now let me conclude my video lecture. Translation is a bridge between languages, cultures and civilizations. It demands linguistic skill, cultural sensitivity and creative talent. And you know, translation studies plays a vital role in word literature and communication. So dear students, you keep in your mind that it is a multilingual, multidimensional activity. It is creative one, and knowledge of culture, knowledge of that society is important one while translating a text from one language into another. One has to maintain the flavor also. So with this, I stop here and wish you all the best. Do concentrate and try to understand what is translation, categories of translation, and how translation is important one in modern society. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best.